The royal family is expected to roll out all of the pomp and ceremony for the U.S. president today, followed by a meeting with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday. So for more on what we can expect, and keep it here, we're going to keep these pictures up live for you. We are joined by Bonnie Brownlee, international royal commentator. Great to have you here. We've spoken many times in London, so nice to speak to you from the studio here. Listen, earlier this hour, we saw the King and Queen arrive at Windsor Castle. I mean, we've watched state visits before, but this almost seems like a made-for-television moment.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the royal family know how to do this well when it comes to pomp and pageantry. So a lot of the historians and writers in the UK are referring to it as the Tiara diplomacy for this trip with Trump. You know, and there's a lot of politics going on today, too. It's not just about the pomp and pageantry. Yeah. It's part of a wooing a little bit of the President of the United States.
Well, we saw that even from the invitation, when we go back to Keir Starmer in the Oval Office, sitting beside Donald Trump, and even the flourish of the presentation of this invitation, I mean, that sort of set the stage for what we're about to watch over the next couple of days.
Right. I think, I mean, look, King Charles is the King of Canada as well, so he's not just doing this for the United Kingdom. He's doing a lot of this work for us as well, and other countries of the Commonwealth, countries around the world. We've got to keep Trump, you know, a little bit on side. The tariffs are impacting all of us. London, the UK's been through a lot coming out of Brexit, you know, all the craziness that's going on. And apparently one of the issues that's starting to rear its head today is immigration, where, you know, the president and the king and the Prime Minister will be having discussions about all of these issues.
This is something, of course, that we hear on this side of the pond, as we like to say, and immigration is a really big issue to President Trump as well in the United States. So here's a live shot now. So earlier, what you were just looking at was when the King and Queen arrived at Windsor Castle. And of course, Bonnie, as we know, these things are timed with military precision. It is by no accident that the King and Queen have arrived first, so that they are there ready to welcome President Trump and First Lady Melania. Can we compare this visit to the first state visit? Because the Queen was still living at that time. She welcomed them, but we saw a lot of missteps by the U.S. president. I imagine there's been some protocol training since then. There were some very awkward moments.
There were awkward moments with Her Majesty the Queen. He stepped in front of her, he walked ahead, he sort of kept looking around for her because she was so tiny. Yes, he would have had a little speaking to, but you know what, no one can tell Trump anything and what to do. He will do as he pleases today, but he is giddy about this trip.
He's a big fan of the royal family.
He's huge.
When you think about, I mean, the irony when you think about history and the fact that, you know, the Boston Tea Party and separating from you know, the loyalists and anyway, you know all of the history. You don't need me to tell it to you. Watch Hamilton if you've missed it. But you get the idea that even though they are very separate entities, he still has a lot of deference for this family and for, I don't know if it's for the power or for the influence that they have?
Well, he likes anything gilded. He likes anything fancy and gold and pretty and blue, you know, anything that makes him or makes, you know, him look better. So I think he will enjoy all of this today.
Including having Marine One, the chopper for the United States of America, landing at Windsor Castle, which is what you're watching live right now, security in the air around them. Once that touches down, we know that the President and First Lady will step out. They are going to be greeted by both King Charles and by Prince William and the Princess of Wales.
Yes, a double hit. Bring out the secret power, which is the Prince and Princess of Wales. They're the next generation. They're the next look at what
does that tell you, though? What does that tell you, the fact that both of them will be in attendance?
The importance of the visit, politically and economically, and in friendship as well with the two countries. And also, King Charles is very aware that his son has a lot to do to take over at some point, and we don't know when that will be. But you know, King Charles is very political, as is his son. So the two of them together will be having a lot of discussions about how to actually handle the President of the United States on this trip.
Handle is the key word here. Is that what this is all about?
In the end, yes. This is about keeping a good, solid relationship with the Americans and with this president who has 3 more years in power. So none of us can fool around too much with the President of the United States. We have to have a relationship with him.
And relationship is also key. Past prime ministers have referred to this as this special relationship that they have.
This always has been. Between the UK and the United States, it's always been a special relationship. They have huge, their defense is more capable than ours. Both countries are, you know, a lot larger than we are. So in that sense, and that's why you're going to see a lot of military display today as well. He's going to do a check the guard of honor. Like he's getting the full Monty, if you will, and it's actually unprecedented. This is one of the larger ceremonials for any visiting head of state.
Well, Lindsay and I were commenting on that earlier. We were showing live shots at Windsor Castle of, you know, the bagpipes being marched in and the military beginning to line up. And, you know, you think back, you reflect back to when Macron was there. We didn't see all of this.
No, this is very different, and this is on purpose. I mean, these are strategies as well about how to make this a warm and loving and, you know, happy visit, but also it has to have a message to it, and it has to be about something.
When we take a look at this, you know, there's a lot of supporters. We've talked about all the pageantry. Can we talk about the protests? Because nobody does a protest
like the UK.
Like the UK. I mean, we saw the, you know, the sort of football field length photo of Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump. What else can we expect to see?
Well, that and immigration, but there will be a lot of Brits that are just wondering, why are we welcoming this man that's had so many issues? But, you know, we don't have to get into his reputational stuff that's going on, but for a lot of people, this will be seen as unnecessary. You know, this man's a criminal in the eyes of many. And then they've got housing issues like we do, and job issues, and they've got illegal immigration, like all kinds of stuff going on.
Is this all about trade relationship with Trump? At the end of the day, is that what this is all about, or are there military interests? What other alignments are they looking for?
Most of it is trade. A lot of it is on artificial intelligence as well. And healthcare. So they're just trying to bring some
cohesion.
Amongst world leaders, not just London and the United States, because again, Charles is king of the Commonwealth.
So if you're just joining us, what you're watching live is Marine One. This is the helicopter that inside is President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania. They are there for their second state visit. Where they've landed is on the grounds of Windsor Castle. And once they walk out, they will be greeted by King Charles and by the Prince of Wales, William, who will be standing by to greet them. Do we have any idea of what else is happening today, Bonnie? We know there's a meeting later on with the Prime Minister.
Right. Well, part of the reason they're in Windsor is that they didn't want to be in downtown London. Because of the concern of protests and security, it's much easier to contain the visit here on the grounds of Windsor Castle. And this area was the favorite of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. And the president, at some point later this afternoon, after the lunch with the members of the royal family, will visit her grave and will lay a wreath.
They were looking at the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, walking across. I find this an interesting move, that they are walking across the lawn to greet the president, as opposed to the president coming to them. This is all very symbolic and fascinating to watch, Bonnie.
Yes, but it's also a signal of a change, too, that the royals are stepping into political life in ever so slightly and starting to be a little bit more open to, you know, to putting themselves out there and being part of the political discussion that's happening globally.
It is also, you know, you and I were speaking about protocol, comparing his first state visit to this one now. The amount of teaching and learning that he will have done. There were some big gaffes with Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth. You know, you can see him keeping the appropriate distance, not a lot of back touching, body touching, as we saw in the last one that, you know, caused a little bit of concern among the Brits. But what are people in Britain watching for? I mean, I know what you and I are watching for, but what are people in the UK watching for in this?
Well, I think that they will be thrilled to see the Prince and Princess of Wales greeting. I think they will like that because it's really setting up the Prince and Princess of Wales for the next sort of step in their life whenever he does become king.
And there we go. Here's the handshake.
Yep.
This is King Charles and Queen Camilla greeting U.S. President Donald Trump. Can we, I don't know what the audio is like on this, if it's mostly just background noise, or can we hear any exchange? So after this greeting, then, they will go inside Windsor Castle, and as you mentioned, they will also be visiting the late Queen Elizabeth's tomb, where she's buried in St. George's Chapel.
Yes, they'll do that later. They will do a procession. They'll get in one of the carriages with the King and Queen and go through the great Windsor Park estate. A route very similar to the one that Harry and Meghan would have done on their wedding after they left the chapel at Windsor Castle.
We want to thank everybody for staying with us live. Bonnie, you included, as we take a look at this historic moment. This is the meeting of President Trump, King Charles, there's First Lady Melania Trump. They were greeted off of the helicopter by the Prince and Princess of Wales, walked to Windsor Castle, and then we will start the procedure from today. Bonnie, it's been great to have you with us live.